The download file is easily found on the SWAT website. The SWAT model is currently in version 2012. Rather than downloading the SWAT executables, to get started you will want to download it together with one of the interfaces, either ArcGIS or QGIS. The Sensitivity and Calibration Program SWAT Cup is also available here. These instructional videos use the ArcSWAT interface, so that's what I'll select. Next, you need to select your ArcGIS version. I'm using 10.5, but ArcSWAT is available for several previous versions. The release notes simply gives an overview of what is different from previous versions. Click Download to start downloading the zip file, which in this version is about 85 megabytes. When the download has finished, locate the zip file. This file is called ArcSWAT Install 2012 for the SWAT model version and 10.5 for the ArcGIS version. Right-click and select an appropriate location for extracting the files. This will not be the location of the installed program. The file will extract to a folder that has 5 items in it. You might look at the readme.txt file, which gives the requirements, and on the bottom gives an overview of the installation process. Double-click on setup.exe to begin the install. This brings up a standard Windows installer, which will guide you through the installation process. Click Next, and then take some time to read the license agreement, and assuming you agree, click that you do. Now you can select the location for the program installation. Select whether ArcSWAT should be available to everyone that uses your computer or just you. The actual installation takes a minute or more, so we are skipping over some of that here. In the end, we see that ArcSWAT has been successfully installed. Before starting to use the SWAT model, let's take a look at the files that you downloaded. Examining them will give you an idea of the data you'll be using as you proceed to set up your SWAT model. There are 5 major folders. ArcSWAT Help contains the documentation. First is the ArcSWAT interface for SWAT 2012 User's Guide. This provides useful information that will be used in this training, and you'll want to follow along. There are sections on each of the steps, and at the end, Section 16 walks you specifically through the Lake Fork example, as we will do in these videos. The other documents in this folder are Frequently Asked Questions. Just as it sounds, this is a useful document for questions that you have, and probably that others have as well, primarily about installation, data inputs, and potential errors that are often encountered. The release notes is updated with each ArcSWAT release and contains a description of updates for that version. The Databases folder contains 2 example folders with complete SWAT input datasets, which are very useful for learning to run SWAT before you need to prepare your own datasets. This video series will walk through example 1 for Lake Fork, and you may want to go through the second example on your own. In the example 1 folder are raster datasets, plus the info folder that contains information for all of these raster datasets. All of these are in Esri grid format and in the Albers equal area projection. Any projection could be used, but of course all your data should be in the same projection. The mask is optional, but is often used to reduce the size of the area that's being analyzed to speed up processing. The land use or land cover dataset can be in Esri grid, shapefile, or feature class format, and the categories will need to be reclassified into SWAT land cover types, which I'll discuss later. Soil is a StatsGo raster dataset, and Final Surgo is the Surgo raster dataset. so you can use both and compare them if you wish. The soil data will need to be linked to the U.S. Soils database or to a user-defined database. There are many additional DBF and text files included, and you can use either one, text or DBF. These 5 are precipitation, and PCP fork is the location of the precipitation gauges. LUC.dbf or TXT are the land use lookup tables. Nutrient.dbf is the location table for nutrient monitoring points in this watershed, so nutrients were monitored there. Soilc.dbf or text are the soil lookup files and tables for this example. strFlow is the location of USGS streamflow gauges, and the 5 TMP files contain temperature gauge locations and data. The example inputs folder contains additional inputs for these examples, which include weather, point sources, reservoir, and the land uses in DBase text and geodatabase format. Next, there are 4 other databases that provide data for all projects, at least for those in the United States. The weather database contains monthly weather statistics for stations throughout the U.S. for several time periods. These can be used in generating missing weather data for your location, as we'll discuss in the video on weather data. We'll also discuss how you can get weather data for locations outside the U.S. The soils database contains tables of the StatsGo soil parameters for all map units within the U.S. The StatsGo is the low resolution or regional soils data. When you're modeling smaller regions, the SurGo soil database provides more detailed data, but that needs to be downloaded separately at the SWAT website. It's located in the software section under Tools and Data. Download it to a temporary folder and copy the unzipped MDB file into the database folder under ArcSWAT. For users outside the U.S., you'll need to provide soil data. SWAT-soils.idb file contains the raster files for the U.S. StatsGo data that are connected to the MDB database. The SWAT 2012 database contains all the data tables required for the ArcSWAT interface for SWAT 2012. And finally, the SWAT output database is a template for the output databases. It includes the tables that explain the fields in the SWAT output files. So if you want to look ahead to the outputs you'll produce as you use SWAT, you can do that. We'll discuss them in a later video. The layer files folder contains .lyr files, which are GIS layers that have symbology already connected to them. SWAT Check is a program for examining and understanding your outputs and whether they make physical sense, and we'll go through that when we look at outputs. Finally, way at the bottom of this list is the executable file for the model. You can move the entire folder structure anywhere on your computer that you have full read and write permission. And now with all the files downloaded and examined, you're ready to set up a SWAT project.